New science should be pursued relentlessly and then applied quickly to support air power. And new threats are emerging to which our generation must respond.
And the world as it is a world that has returned to great power competition. And so we as an Air Force have got to be prepared for that. We're the options folks.
Well, we've got a lot of things going on with respect to modernization, but we are trying to buy things faster and smarter across the board. We're accelerating programs. We've stripped, just in the last 6 months, we've stripped 56 years out of our program plans for acquisition and trying to make sure that capability gets from the lab bench to the warfighter faster.
The lab benches where ideas become reality are taking many different forms across the Air Force, from think tanks to traditional research laboratories where innovation and modernization are the name of the game. One of the methods the Air Force Research Laboratory uses to rapidly solve problems is called sprints, encouraging innovative ideas and thinking. It allows solutions to be created quickly, providing prototypes warfighters can test.
It's this idea of getting together a team, in our case a research team, all together within a room for maybe a week or 2 weeks at a time with a very defined problem that you want to try and solve. And we've seen some huge successes with this. One good example of that is we were working with some end users that do search and evasion and rescue, but there wasn't a way to monitor them, to make sure that they were healthy, those types of challenges. And so we actually pulled together a team to do a sprint. They took a commercial shirt that monitors heart rate, added some sensors for temperature, and then connected that to some other devices that we had to then be able to beam it up to a satellite that then could send it back to the instructors so that they could monitor the health of the individuals while they're out in very remote locations. And so they were able to rapidly do this. In 1 week's time, they did a software and hardware development, and they had it out in the field within 2 weeks.
We'll go out to the field and talk with the operators. We're involved in a lot of exercises with them. And they'll tell us, I have all this technology, it's really great, but it would be awesome if I could do this one extra little thing. And so we sit down with them, we brainstorm, and we go over the multiple different ways that we could possibly accomplish that, if it's through hardware, software, a mix of both. And then we'll come back to the lab, try a bunch of different things out using low-cost solutions, and then bring them back to the field, see what they like, see what they didn't like, and then from there we'll be able to grow our product and mature it a little bit, and then get them a prototype, and then the eventual goal is to transition into industry and sustain them long term.
This will get attached right here. And this is
Our job in the lab here is to produce rapid technology and get the need met. If our 3D printers are tied up printing the same thing over and over, we can't necessarily make new technology for the operators. Whereas a company that is focused on increasing their manufacturing capabilities can do it over and over again, and they can make a lot of profit off of that, and we can keep moving on and keep getting solutions for our warfighters.
Moving the results of research to a production mode is the whole idea behind the Air Force Technology Transfer, or T2 program. It was created to ensure Air Force science and engineering activities are transferred or shared with state and local governments, academia, and industry.
And relationship's really a great word for it, right? It's about making connections between Air Force needs and businesses so we can, in a very agile, rapid fashion, solve Air Force needs with the best innovation that business has to offer. We've got some great technologies in the Air Force, and we want to make sure that we're licensing those technologies to businesses, small and big, so that they can actually develop products, right, that'll help grow the economy, or that the Air Force may end up buying back and be part of our systems.
Here's an example of how it works. The Air Force Research Laboratory developed and perfected a glow stick technology, but lacked the ability to manufacture the tech on a large scale, and eventually all of the research was shelved. AFRL licensed the technology to an industry partner, and it took just over a year to manufacture the product and get it back into the hands of the military.
What Battlesight brings to the table is being able to manufacture this at scale to get this into the hands of the warfighter in the quickest way possible. We produce infrared crayons for the military, so they work like a glow stick. When you write with them, it creates a chemiluminescence reaction that glows in the infrared spectrum. So we've gone back and executed a cooperative research and development agreement with the inventor, who's now working on the next generation of the product.
Nick is an Army veteran who also brings his own military background into his business. The full benefit of tech transfer and Air Force acquisition can be seen through his experience. And while the Air Force is focused on adding value to the warfighter and not making a monetary profit, by licensing research to commercial developers, the service gets the products they need, and entrepreneurs not only profit, but provide jobs in the civilian sector. It's a symbiotic relationship where both sides can achieve their own goals.
Yeah, I think the impact is just massive with private industry partnering with AFRL. AFRL's developed this awesome technology, but doesn't have the ability to manufacture it. So that created another business in the community to produce these. The product itself has had a massive impact on the warfighter by reducing weight, reducing the time needed to break chem lights, reducing the logistical cost from an operational standpoint, and who knows what else's follow-on impacts this product's going to have.
But it's not just hardware concepts and products the Air Force Research Laboratory is developing. Airmen are working side by side with civilians at Kessel Run, a workspace and program in Boston meant to create and deliver software continuously and rapidly that the warfighter can use to execute their mission.
So what we're doing here at Kessel Run is making sure that we have really short feedback loops directly with our users, so we can always ensure that we're building the right thing and providing value from day one. We would now have the ability to learn and pivot in the traditional way of doing things. So working in this agile environment with using continuous delivery, we're able to adapt our capabilities to what the warfighter actually needs today and be able to adapt and change with the changes that happen within the battlefield and in the operational space.
In a world where far more innovation is happening outside of the government than inside of it, connecting to that broader scientific enterprise is absolutely vital to our future. So we're going to drive our research agenda forward. We will earn our place in this proud heritage to secure air and space superiority and underpin our national security for the future.